this is JC. Welcome to Missed Again, where every missed shot is a lesson. It's not about perfect play, it's about my struggles and honest progress. There are many videos that teach pattern play to run out in 8 ball, but for beginners and advanced beginners, this may not be particularly useful if they can only do a run of 2 or 3 balls. So this video will help you learn to identify patterns and connect balls together. Next, we'll show you how to practice running 4 balls at a time for an attainable goal, and finally, it will build your mental game to psychologically complete an 8-ball run. Any pattern play must be backed by execution. If you can't get into position, you must be able to adapt and perform recovery shots or identify a new pattern. For example, here I planned to get from the red 3 to the brown 7 and then to the blue 2 and then finally to the 8 ball. But when I took the shot on the red 3, I had too much speed on my stroke and the cue ball came too far down. So I had to adapt and shoot the 2 ball first. However, after pocketing the 2 ball, the cue ball knocked into the stripes and kept me on the wrong side of the 7 ball. So a recovery shot is needed to spin the cue ball around the table for position on the 8 ball. I shoot at 9 o'clock with a firm, smooth stroke and got shape on the 8 to complete the run. But let's start with the basics and just 4 balls. The exercise is to use 3 balls and the 8 ball. In this first 8 ball game layout, only your balls and the 8 ball are left on the table. You can assume your opponent has pocketed all his balls. The challenge is to identify which order to take the balls to the highest percentage chance to complete the run. Here are 3 simple steps. First, identify which pocket the 8 ball should go in. I'm sure most will agree it should go to the nearest corner pocket. Now, identify where the cue ball should ideally be positioned to pocket the 8 ball. It would be in this area here. I'll mark the area with this yellow piece of plastic as a visual reference for you. The second step is to identify the key ball. The key ball is the ball you pocket just before the 8 ball. There's no fixed rule which ball should be the key ball, although one guide is to look at the closest ball to the 8 ball that provides a path to the 8 ball. In this case, it is the red 3 ball. Now identify the path that the cue ball should be on to pocket the 3 ball and get to the position for the 8. I'll mark this area for your visual reference as well. The final step is to work backwards and determine how you get in position for the 3 ball. You can either shoot the blue 2 ball or the yellow 1 ball first. You could shoot the 1 ball with top spin with a bit of reverse English and bring it down for the 2 ball. However, when possible, you should always try to go with the simplest route without adding any kind of spin, especially at the beginner to low intermediate level. Therefore, the preferred route is to go with the 2 ball with a center ball hit and go off 1 rail for position on the 1 ball. Now I need to get to the path for the 3 ball. There are 2 ways to do this. Go off 1 rail with low right spin. But the simpler way is to use center ball hit and go 2 rails and just focus on speed control. I ended almost perfectly in line with the 3 ball. I can adapt and go off 1 rail to get back on track for the 8 ball. I can use a center ball hit, but use enough stroke speed to stun the ball into the top short rail. And now I'm in perfect position for the 8 ball as planned from the start. So when possible, use the simplest method to go from ball to ball. Less things can go wrong and it forces you to focus on your speed control. Let's have a look at the same layout but with added difficulty. Here's the same 8 ball game layout, but there are 2 opponents' balls on the table, and 1 striped ball is blocking the 2 balls from being pocketed into the side pocket. So the pattern that was used in the previous layout cannot be used here. But let's plan this in order. Step 1. Identify which pocket the 8 ball will go in. Then identify the path where the cue ball should end up to pot the 8 ball easily. Step 2. Identify the key ball. Should it still be the red 3? But that pattern means you have to shoot the 3, shoot the 2 in the far corner pocket, and then shoot the 1 and somehow bring the cue ball back to the path of the 8 ball, as you generally want to clear the table as you work your way across the table as opposed to going back and forth. That feels like a difficult run. Since the 2 ball cannot be the first ball, the 1 ball has to be the first ball. Shooting the 1 ball is relatively easy. The difficulty is maintaining speed control to get to the correct position. I end up in ideal position for the 2 ball. I now need to get on the 3 after pocketing the 2. I shoot slightly below center to stun the cue ball towards the path of the 3 ball. I overran slightly, but it is fine as I can shoot the cue ball into the long rail to get on the positional path for the 8 ball. I shoot with a follow shot to bring the cue ball closer to the 8 ball path. This brings me back in line for the 8 ball for a straightforward shot. For the sake of completeness, let me try the alternate pattern by shooting the 3 ball first. This is between a half to 1/4 ball shot, but the cue ball must go 2 rails to get position for the 2 ball. I missed. This shot on the 3 is much more difficult than the shot on the 1 ball, at least for me, which is why I would not choose this pattern as my first choice. I'll try again. I pocket the 3 ball and get the intended position for the 2 ball. I shoot and pocket the 2 ball. While I knocked into the 9 ball, I would not have scratched even if the ball wasn't there. I now have a shot on the 1 ball, but need to bring the cue ball all the way back up the table to the 8 ball path. I need to use low right spin with the right speed control. The shot is not difficult, but the speed control is. But I got ideal shape on the 8 ball. As you can see, there's usually more than one pattern to take to complete a run. However, you should always try to take the simplest route or take shots that you're very comfortable with. There's no point choosing a fantastic pattern if the shots can't be made. Before we look at one final, more difficult layout, if you like my content, please do support my channel by checking out my merch store at missagainpool.com. There are lots of original designs and products for pool enthusiasts. Thanks! In this layout, the 8 ball is out in the open, so there are several pockets it can go in. Step 1 is identifying which pocket the 8 ball should go in. I choose the side pocket as it is the closest. This means the cue ball must end up in the area where the 1 ball is to be in position for the 8 ball. So step 2 is identifying the key ball. One best practice is to choose the ball closest to the 8 ball, but this is not always the case. The variable here is the 3 ball, which is on the rail. Anytime you have rail shots, you need to pay extra attention as pocketing the ball and getting position for the next ball is not always easy. In addition, if the 1 ball is chosen as the key ball, it means either the 3 ball or the blue 2 ball has to be the first ball. As such, most people will likely shoot the 1 ball, followed by the 2 ball, and then the 3 ball to the 8 ball. While seemingly straightforward, this pattern is still not easy. You need to shoot the 1 ball with follow and end up with an angle on the 2 ball. Speed control is crucial. Then you need a cut shot on the 2 and get the correct angle on the 3. This rail shot can be tricky. I need to shoot with right spin to ensure the cue ball spins out back for position on the 8. I must also aim to hit the rail just before the cushion. I pocket the 3 ball, but due to the long stretch, did not have enough stroke speed. The cue ball fell short on its intended position. It is neither here nor there, and I can shoot it in either corner pocket. Both are tough shots. I go for the back cut and missed again. Let's try another pattern which I actually prefer. It starts with the 3 ball, then the 1 ball, and the 2 ball as my key ball. The 3 ball on the rail at the steep angle is not easy. However, it is a shot I know and practice. I shoot with low inside English and kick the 3 ball into the corner pocket. The inside spin will cause the 3 ball to spin out towards the center of the table after contacting the second rail. It is not a simple shot, but it's one that I know, and now I'm left with 2 straightforward shots to get onto the 8 ball. I shoot a stun shot on the 1 ball to the corner pocket to get a good angle on the 2 ball. Now a center ball hit on the 2 ball will bring the cue ball off 1 rail for position on the 8 ball. I came up a little short, but it's not a problem to shoot the 8 ball in this side pocket, which was the planned pocket from the start. Once again, shoot the pattern that you're comfortable with based on the shots you are confident in. Well, that's it for this video. Try this exercise and see if it improves your pattern play for 8 ball. Start with just 3 balls and the 8 ball, then add some opponent's balls to make it more difficult. As you improve, add a 4th ball and another and so on to make it more challenging. Remember the 3 steps. Start by identifying which pocket the 8 ball goes in and where the cue ball needs to be. Next, identify the key ball and the cue ball path to it. Finally, work backwards and in most layouts, clear the table from one side to the other instead of going up and down the table. Let me know if this works for you in the comments. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you like the content in general, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. It will really help the channel out. Every miss makes us better, so let's grow together. My name is JC. Try not to miss again.